welcome back. Return of the Mac, M.A.C, Moss, Andrew, Carl. Episode 177, back in the building, just the two of us again.
Yep. Carl left us, y'all.
He is no longer a part of the pod. We apologize.
Full-time house dad.
He's not really gone. He'll be back. But yes, new baby is here. We decided an extra week seems fair. Got to take care of the lady, make sure everybody's good to go. So just the two of us again.
Yeah, man.
Week 18 of football obviously going to be discussed. We got Dana White, USA soccer coach.
A lot of shit.
What was the other stuff? Ghana, Meek Mill.
Meek getting pickpocketed. Shit crazy out here.
Bill Cosby.
Back on tour.
The return. And most importantly, right after we recorded last week, Damar Hamlin's situation happened. Like
After
literally,
Damar we all know, Mr. DeRozan. But Damar Hamlin.
That's right. He said we got to talk about Damar. I was immediately like, what happened with DeRozan? But yes, like literally 5 minutes after we finished, we're breaking down the equipment and the hit happens, and we're just kind of casually still just getting stuff together, figuring the game, come back on in a minute. And I remember Moss is like, damn, you don't usually see them come back for 3 commercial breaks.
Yeah, it's like 3 commercial breaks back to back. Like, yo, something is fucking wrong right now.
It was really wild. And we're sitting there having the conversation like, you know, what happens if a player actually died on the field? And like, at that point in time, it was a realistic possible
and they
conclusion.
was like, they giving him CPR. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Might have just spoke this shit up right now. It's kind of crazy, but hey.
That was legit, like probably the scariest thing I've ever seen on a football field. I don't remember the Shazier situation like vividly enough to remember. Obviously, that one had to have been crazy bad too, with him being fully paralyzed, or at least partially paralyzed and stuff from his hit.
You see a lot of big hits in football, and they be on the field for a minute, but you always get a little, raise of the hand or a little "I'm good." And why they getting carted off the field, but you ain't get none of that with this one.
Nothing at all.
None of that.
I thought it was interesting, the whole wait afterwards, trying to decide like, are they going to play this game? What's going to happen? It sounds like the teams almost made the decision.
That's what it
or
seemed
at least
like.
kind of forced the hand, where it's like up in the air, what are we going to do or not? And both it seemed like the Bills coach kind of presented that, like, I don't know if we want to play this game. And the Bengals
after
were
they went
really
to like a
dope
couple
about it.
commercial breaks, they was actually still like warming up on the sideline, like trying to keep warm, like they was trying to play. I think once they like met in the middle of the field, the two coaches met in the middle of the field and talked about it, I think that's when they decided like, all right, we're going to take it in.
Right.
That's when it was a wrap, I think.
Right. But really cool the Bengals to, I mean, obviously, like, you're going to look like a massive dick if you like, we're like, we're playing. But it seemed like they were like really cool about it. It's always nice to see, the players were all united out on the field. And then the following week, just seeing the entire NFL rocking his shirt and people giving shout outs and stuff. It was a really cool moment, to be honest with you, post the bad stuff that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on what perspective you're sitting at with it.
What do you mean? Oh, like if you're the person that had it happen?
I mean, it was crazy for that shit to happen. I was like, damn, it's fucked up. At the same time, I'm thinking like in the back of my head, like, yo, we got this big game this week, and now this
Bills.
on top of it, to go into this game, they're gonna be playing for their man. So it's like, shit. Yeah. But it's like, it was good to hear after a few days that he was back to normal. Well, not back to normal, but he had regained his consciousness. Right. Opened his eyes and was talking and stuff again, and talked to the team and all that. So I was like, all right, he's good.
So now we can get back to the game. Yeah, it's like, yo, fuck the Bills.
At that point, I was hating every time I heard Damar. I was like, all right, we get it. Threes everywhere. He's alive. Let's get to this game. But,
man.
But I'm glad he's doing all right, though. That would have been tragic.
For sure.
That would have been tragic.
Well, we want to get into Skip first?
Yeah.
It was like one of the bigger reactions. Obviously, that night, everybody's having reactions on Twitter to what's going on and stuff. Do you actually have the tweet by any chance? I should have got it prepared.
I don't think I have them on
I don't
hand.
for sure.
I get like the gist of what he was saying. It wasn't really nothing. I mean, well, when they dropped, it was like really like in the midst of it going on. Like I think it just took him off the field and he started tweeting. And he was going in about it, asking questions, addressing the situation. And I feel like what he said won't necessarily bad, but the timing of it was bad because it was just so immediate. But Skip gonna be Skip, and people got a lot of hate for Skip and his takes and shit that he be saying on Twitter or whatever. So I feel like he was just like a person that was easy to pounce on in that moment.
100%.
Because nobody had no answers. Nobody knew who to put this attention on, or the hate. And people like to bring out the hate and blame people. People always like to associate blame whenever something going on and be the first to point that blame to.
Yep.
So Skip was just that person. It was like, oh, really? You gonna tweet about this right now? So he got a lot of heat from that shit. So I think that's all that was.
And the gist of the tweet was basically like he like kind of presented the question like, this is a really huge game.
Yeah.
How are they going to figure out what to do with this game? And then the last part of the tweet, he said something like, but that doesn't even seem important right now, or something like that. Seems
irrelevant. He basically was asking all the questions that everybody asked the next day.
Yeah.
On the sports shows, but he was just the first to start asking them.
Exactly.
That's all it was.
When we were sitting there at your house breaking the stuff down, obviously we didn't know exactly how bad of an extent it was.
Yeah.
But we knew it was obviously super bad. And even in that moment, I'm an analytical person. Yeah. I was like, besides the seriousness of this, I wonder what the heck the NFL is going to do. There's no more weeks left to fill in games.
No time.
This was a massive, important game for seeding and this
Super
kind of
Bowl,
stuff.
like a month and a half away. Everything booked up. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's reasonable and natural to be able to say something is terrible, this is a bad situation, and also still looking at how is this going to play out.
Yep.
I don't like that shit about reading the room and this is not the appropriate time for this question and stuff. Look, if you don't want to talk about this stuff and you want to keep your focus on is he okay, I respect that 100%. Yeah. That's probably a good way to do things.
Majority of people was doing.
But don't try to make me sound like a crazy, terrible person, or Skip to be a terrible person for presenting a question that we all are curious about.
Yeah, but like I always say, when these guys that have these narratives with them, especially negative narratives, anything that they do is going to be projected or looked at in that type of way, just because it's Skip.
For sure.
So he's another one that fell victim to, even though it's been mad times where he has been wild with his takes and the timing that he says shit. But this time it was all right. He just got caught in the fire right there.
Right.
He hit that tweet button a little too soon.
Probably so. Could have used the extra couple minutes to think about it. Yeah. But that's exactly why I also don't feel bad for Skip in the slightest.
Yeah.
He's run his mouth constantly for 10, 15 years, whatever long he's been a major public personality for his shows and stuff like that. He constantly says stupid shit. He constantly is intentionally provocative and stuff like that. So if this is the hill that he dies on, so be it, is how I look at it. I don't feel bad for him at all. I don't care in the slightest.
Everybody should have known Skip was going to double down and stand on what he did.
You should probably know that, but I was still blown by it.
Yeah.
I still just
his apology was just nah, I understand. I said what I said. I addressed that it was irrelevant at the time and all this. It's all right, Skip, we get it. How you feel about Shannon not showing up the next day?
I don't have any problem with it. When he did come back the following day after that, and he's attempting to give his little monologue about not being happy with the situation and Damar's health is the most important, saying relatively good things.
Yeah.
And Skip can't even let him get it out. As soon as he even hints at Skip's tweet, he's like, well, I'm not going to take it down. It's bro, shut the fuck up. This is not the time.
Now. You being a baby. Chill out. Let him finish what he got to say, and then y'all can go back and forth like y'all do.
Right. After he finishes, you could be could we talk about this? Could we address this? Because I don't think that I should take it and make your case or whatever. If you want to stand on something, stand on it. I got no problems with that. But you're a straight 5-year-old. You just can't let anybody say anything without defending yourself. It's just stupid.
It's funny. The last month or so, we didn't seen a number of different clips of them really getting heated and Shannon really getting taken to his end where he feel like he ready to flip on him. And I think recently he tweeted something about a message from his brother or something. He tweeted it out and he said, me and my brother, I look up to him. He helped raise me. If you know Shannon, you know a story about his brother Sterling Sharp or whatever, and how big of a influence and everything he is to Shannon. And he said, my brother don't text me. He said recently in the last month, he's been texting me a lot of messages saying like, I appreciate you, the man you and grown to be, and how you portraying yourself on TV and all this, that, and the third. And that just told me that like, oh, that just means Shannon used to be one of the ones that's ready to pop off on anybody that was talking crazy to him. So he put that tweet and let me know like, all right, it's really some issues going on right now. He feeling a little disrespected by Skip in the last month or so, and it's like, we see the end coming almost. But it's weird because can it be an end? I think Shannon just read up like recently. I want to say he read up recently with FS1 again. So I don't know if they can split up when they just started a new contract.
No, I think that show is dead. I think that show is dead. I mean, he doesn't leave FS1, but if you're FS1, it's got to be two separate shows.
Right.
There's no way they can keep that together.
Coming to the network.
Yeah, he's got his own pod now. I've been seeing more and more clips. I feel like they are starting to like push that more to the forefront.
Yeah,
that show is done. It's not the same as like, you know, the Stephen A. and Skip stuff where they used to get heated with each other, but it was about sports and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
these are like way more personal, and you can tell Shannon is through. And shout out to him. He's really handled himself well. As annoying and intolerable as Skip is, he still kind of took the high ground on most of these things.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, they're done, though. They're done.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. Have we been seeing it play out as well? But, you know, what we got next?
I don't know. There's so many things we could go into from that.
Yeah.
I mean, since we're on the Bills, you want to go ahead and get yours out of the way?
I guess. When was our game? Our game was on Sunday.
Yeah.
We want to skip Saturday games and get right to that?
Yeah, just for the Bills stuff.
Yeah.
And we go back to Saturday afterwards.
All right, well, leading up, after I found out, well, everybody found out Damar was good, everything was well, I was like, I know it's going to be a whole big deal at the beginning of the game. Whole tribute. They probably have a prayer with the teams. I seen a lot of teams was doing that before the game start.
Yep.
Knew all that was going to happen, so I was like, all right, let's get all this out the way. Let's focus on this game. First kickoff comes right to Nyheim Hines takes that shit straight to the house. I said, the fix is in. The fix is fucking in. I wasn't even watching the game at that point yet. I was just, going through. I was getting it set up so I could pull the game up. And I was checking the stats. And I see 7 on the boards already. I was like, we like 15 seconds into the game.
That's
what the fuck happened? I was like, it gotta be a kick return. Of course it was. I was like, oh shit. That's how we starting this game off. I knew it was gonna be a lot. I just didn't know it was gonna be the first fucking play of the game.
Right.
Or first kickoff of the game, but that started it off.
What a statement.
From an uphill battle already. I'm like, oh, God. So we got to deal with this. Came back around. We scored, responded pretty good. Our defense was holding up. Won't let them get down the field. We was get down the field pretty good. I think I seen M.A.C. on all our scoring drives of that game. He was like 17 for 17, 100-some yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, big game.
Was perfect on the scoring drives, but the drives we didn't score on, he was throwing picks.
I didn't see the 3 interceptions.
The drives we didn't score on, he was throwing picks.
Yeah, that's tough.
So it was like, God damn, like it kind of nullifies the 3 good drives where you have 3 with interceptions.
Definitely.
But that happened. They returned another kick to Nyheim. Took another one to the house. I don't think I've seen that. I don't know when the last time I've seen somebody take 2 kick returns in the same game.
I don't know if I've seen a kickoff return this year. Is that the first one of the year?
No, it's been some. It's been some kick returns.
Teams just don't even get returns very often, it feels like.
I think it's been some. I don't know if it's been a lot, but seeing 2 in the same game from the same person, that's like some Dante Hall shit.
Right.
You ain't seen that in a while. So those 2 kick returns put them up 3 scores. If those kick returns don't happen, we're leading and up in that game and kind of in control of it, because for the most part, our defense was holding them down for a little bit.
Right.
But 2 kick returns in the game, that's going to kill the momentum and the confidence of any team.
I wonder if anybody's won a game with giving up 2 kick returns.
I don't even think it's possible. But so the confidence was killed off the second one. And then they were just running it up, got a long bomb to Diggs. A lot of tough catches that was made in that joint. I mean, on our side, we had a bunch of tough catches too.
Yeah, Parker had some nasty ones.
Devontae Parker was balling. He looked like old, like prime Devontae again.
He did.
And that catch with Jacoby Myers was tough too.
Oh, that was sick.
Toe tap joint.
That was sick.
That was a tough catch. So some clutch catches, big plays made, but also some very bad plays made as well, and we couldn't get that job done. Bills had that shit in the bag. It was a wrap.
Yeah. I'm sure you saw the 3 months, 3 years thing.
No, what happened with
that? You know, they're doing all the 3 stuff all week, and they said it had been 3 years and 3 months since the Bills had returned to kickoff.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah.
The fix is in, y'all. I'm telling you. Some shit ain't always a coincidence. That's crazy.
That was wild.
He had 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. Josh Allen had 3 touchdowns. What's going on?
Too many threes, man. A lot of threes out there.
23 to 35. If it was 33 or something like that, like, all right.
Right.
But, yeah, it was the fix is in. I mean, it all makes sense. It's a storybook. You couldn't have wrote this shit any better if somebody wrote a script of this shit.
Right.
That's how it panned out, and the Bills are, knocked us out the playoffs. It was it. Our destiny was in our hands, and we fumbled it.
Y'all made the playoffs last year, right? Didn't you sneak in?
Yeah, we snuck in.
When was
the extra spot?
When was the last time you didn't make the playoffs?
The year before.
Okay, there was one recently.
Yeah, when we had Cam.
Gotcha.
We didn't make it that year.
That's right. That's right.
We didn't make it that year.
I thought there might have been one recently.
That was the first year after Brady left.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Unusual territory for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. We still, I guess you can call us in a rebuild. I don't know if it's fully a rebuild right now, but still got a lot of shit to work out. I still think we need a stud on offense.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good guys that can make plays, but we don't have a stud like the rest of our division has.
Right.
And that's what we need to acquire to at least put us in the conversation to battle in with them. But, I think Bill just said he's coming back for another season.
I did see that.
Fucking 71 years old.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
He said he's coming back. He ain't done yet, so.
Had there been any talk about that? About, like, him being done?
I'm sure every year now it's going to be a question at this point.
At that age.
Considering how old he is. But he's coming back another season, so hopefully he'll have some more shit he can work out in the offseason to get us up to par again, because it's going to be tough for the next at least 5 or 6 years. Josh Allen and I don't know what's going on with Tua. We'll see. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I don't think I could worry about Tua long term at this point.
I don't know about that.
But be more of a shock if he
Jets
plays.
Got a lot of young guys. Of course, they still need a quarterback, but got a lot to deal with.
Bro, I wish I had actually written down the number, but while I was watching the Jets game, they had said something like they hadn't scored an offensive touchdown in 4 or 5 games.
That's wild.
That's unbelievable.
That's wild.
I wish I wrote down the exact stat because it was probably even crazier than what I just said. But yeah,
I believe it though, because they've been awful.
For sure,
they
got defense stacked, but that offense is not it. Garrett Wilson is nice, but
Garrett Wilson is good.
I'll come back to the Jets though. I'm jumping all over the place. My bad. Let's go back to Saturday.
Yep.
Saturday we had Chiefs Raiders. Mm-hmm. That was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
That game never looked close. Chiefs were playing with their food, doing goofy plays and shit.
Oh, yeah. Kansas City Globetrotters out that joint. They spinning around in circles, going in the sets and shit, and doing it was like a wildcat option reverse they ran.
Something like that,
option throwback or some shit. That shit was a wild play. I was like, oh, they really they really playing in our faces right now. Like, what the hell is this shit going on? It was a tight play. It looked tight.
And they scored on it.
Yeah, and they scored on it.
And it was a penalty. So they called a touchdown back, and the very next play, they just score again. It's like, this game was never going to be close. Raiders didn't look like they had a chance. Old Stidham balled out the week before, but he wasn't getting anything going that week.
He was back to regular Stidham again.
Pretty much. Unimpressed.
So, yeah, they did what they had to do. They got them up out of there. I think they first seed AFC.
Yep. Locked it up.
Sealed it.
Locked it in. Wasn't much else to say about that game, I don't think.
They get the bye next week.
Yeah.
Get to chill out.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice for them.
Jags-Titans.
Jags-Titans. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah.
It was very pretty.
Titans is always a pretty good division rivalry game.
Right.
They always battle. But
not pretty by any means, but towards the end of the game, they get the big Josh Allen fumble return for a touchdown to take the lead with 2 minutes, 51 seconds left.
Yeah.
I feel like the real story of the game, Titans gave it everything they could, and Dobbs was able to keep him in the game. He looked okay. He looked pretty solid.
He looked decent.
But it was really all about Trevor Lawrence, I think.
Yeah.
He ended up, his stat line doesn't look like terrible or anything. 20 for 32, 212, touchdown, no picks.
No turnovers, though.
he missed some really easy throws.
Yeah.
Particularly the one he had in the end zone where there was like literally nobody within 10 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's he's been so dominant these last whatever weeks of the season and like having these big comeback games and stuff like that. But it's got to be a little bit disappointing to be in basically a playoff game at that point.
Pretty much.
And he just kind of put up a little bit of an egg. What do you think about that?
It wasn't a great game. Didn't have any turnovers though, but he definitely was missing a few passes I seen in that game. But I just chucked that up to just it being a hard-fought division game. Like it was a lot of pressure on that game. I think were they in regardless, or did they have to win that for the division?
I believe they had to win.
Yeah,
because it was whoever won was going to win the division.
Okay, all right. So it was a big game. They had to get that dub, and they came away with the dub, and that caps off with a 5-game winning streak for them.
Yeah,
forcing them into the playoffs
against some good teams too.
In mid-season, they had the worst record in the league. That's fucking impressive.
Hard to argue with that.
Like, that's fucking impressive. I don't care how the last one looked. The last 4, he was balling.
Right.
And
this Titans are not very good, but Vrabel defense is a thing.
Yeah.
And you expect that he was going to put up a good game plan together. If they had any kind of offensive weapon that they could have got going, Henry just couldn't do anything because you're just going to load the box. Who cares what anybody else does?
They gave it to him 30 times. He had 109 yards, no TDs. What more can you ask? Like,
yeah, you'll take that. I think you'll take that if you're most teams.
What you going to do? So they pulled out that dub, sealed their spot in the playoffs and the wild card going down next week.
No Jacksonville fans were expecting playoffs this year, I don't think. So
I wouldn't think so.
Major win of a season all the way around.
Yeah, that's a come up. Shout out to them.
Well, if we're going to go into Sunday games now anyway, I don't think the order really matters.
No, I don't.
Let's go ahead and do the Chargers and this Herbert Lawrence discussion. Mm-hmm. From the game itself, I don't think there was anything really important. This game was meaningless to both teams. I think the Broncos won, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they got the dub, but it didn't matter. But today the big discussion has been Chargers were basically the only team. Well, I guess the Cowboys did it too, but they were one of the only teams that had their positioning completely set and still played their starters. Mm-hmm. Mike Williams gets hurt in the middle of the game.
Oh, did he get hurt?
I swear he gets hurt every single game.
Yikes.
He had some kind of back injury where he was barely getting off the field. They said he's going to play this upcoming week, but it brings up the age-old question that gets asked every single week at the end of the season. Should these guys be out there? And I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge... I understand the idea of getting out of rhythm going into the playoffs not being a great thing. So I would be in favor of maybe playing the guys for a quarter, a half, or something like that, getting them some reps and keeping it pretty vanilla. Don't run your quarterback and shit like that.
Right.
But overall, man, football feels like it's a survival sport.
It is.
Whoever makes it to the end of the season with most of their players available within the group of good teams is going to be the Super Bowl champion. I would be much more in favor of resting than playing these guys. And he had them in all the way till the end of the game, I believe.
It's probably close to the middle of the fourth quarter until they bench them. I think it all depends on the scenario. With the Eagles, they had to get that win to seal their first seed so they could have to bye next week. So they're going to be off for another 1 week anyway. That makes sense. They needed to get that dub, and, they came back. Jalen Hurts ain't been playing the last couple of weeks, so he can get back, fine-tune the offense a little bit more. They can play better. It makes sense. Chargers wasn't necessary. Broncos aren't doing nothing. They have no way. They already eliminated. Y'all already in there. Y'all not going to get a bye. Take the week off.
Literally no benefit.
You can create your own bye now. Grab a bye week with your starters and be fresh for next week for the wild card game. It didn't make sense. Not for them.
Nah, I thought so. Staley's first year as coach, he notoriously had all of the wild fourth down attempts that didn't work.
Yeah.
And a lot of his coaching stuff was questioned pretty heavily that year. And then I think Carl has been unfairly harsh on the man as being a terrible coach.
Yeah.
This situation, though, I felt was a terrible coaching decision. And then when he was asked about it, after the game, he, basically tried to insinuate, he said, like, well, we've only got so many players. Like, he kind of made it sound like we don't have a second string that could have played in place of these guys. Like,
which is not true.
You got to wear your L. If this is the decision you're going to make, like, stand by it. But don't try to, we've only got so many players. What was I supposed to do type
First
of
all,
shit.
That's a lie.
That's crazy.
You have backups that you could have played in this game. And you could have sat them earlier, too. Like, y'all was down a little bit, and you kept them in to try to fight back into the game.
Yeah,
it was it's unnecessary. Lose Mike Wood. We say Mike Wood still might play, but that's a big piece of y'all's offense. Now he's banged up a little bit, and now you're going into the next week with a banged up receiver, one of your best receivers. Like, it don't make sense. But hey, they did what they did, lost. Now the Broncos going in the offseason with a little bit of confidence after they had this terrible season. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense, but hey, you got to deal with it now.
Well, if you're a Broncos fan, you can kind of lie to yourself and be like, once we got rid of that coach, we had the big offensive week the last week of the season.
It did look
maybe
like
we're going to be
totally
okay.
Different team. I ain't going to lie.
They really did. They really did. Put up mad points.
Yeah, Russ been looking like the Russ that we know before this year. So, I mean, hey.
It's at least something to hang on.
It is. It is.
Well, I guess do you want to do the Herbert Lawrence discussion now or when we preview the upcoming playoff games? Since they're playing
we do the preview when we do the preview.
All right.
Yeah, we can get back to that.
I'm just going to go in order then on ESPN. Dolphins-Jets. That was one of the worst football games I've ever watched in my life.
That was a horrible game.
Why did we get stuck having to watch that shit? Why is that on TV?
I wasn't even paying attention to it most of the time for real. Like, I was just like, yo, why y'all doing this to us?
9-6 basically until the last play of the game. They get the meaningless safety, make it 11-6. But it literally looked like neither team was going to be able to score enough points to win.
It was awful. It was awful. Like, I understand Dolphins ain't got Tua. I don't know who this Skylar Thompson guy is.
No Teddy neither.
Never heard no Teddy was out too.
Yeah.
But it's like, you got to find some way. You still got offensive pieces. You got to find some way to get in the end zone. Like, it's got to be a way to get in there. And they couldn't do it. Like, it was just rough. I ain't watched much of the game, so I don't know how rough it was. But looking at the score, it looked like it was rough throughout the whole time.
Oh, it was disgusting.
So, I mean, hey, Dolphins got in there. Hey, the one thing I can't say I'm great about, we lost. Dolphins won, kept the Steelers bitch asses up out of there too.
Thank God.
It was feeling good off of their little dub on the Browns, and now they ass sitting where we is right now. So
that was too perfect. That was too perfect. Yeah, Patriots were always my number one most hated for quite some time now because of how good y'all were. Mm-hmm. Now that you've come back down to earth a little bit, and I have to be around Carl as much as I do. The Steelers are my most hated team. I can't stand them. And last week,
this wouldn't be a good couple of weeks for him to be the only team out of the MAC.
Oh God, it would have been
being
terrible.
In the playoffs.
It would have been terrible.
Nah.
I'm a Panthers fan. I usually don't cause too many people's feathers to get ruffled.
You new head coach?
Yeah. I actually took a job.
They gave you the call?
I took a job. I am going to be the new head coach. I always got to rep the team.
It's about time.
The day after your season ends, you got to rep it one more time. Be like, we're still here.
Long time coming.
But last week when we lost our big game to the Bucs, one of the worst Panthers losses I've had in a couple of years now. Big important game. Could have got us into the playoffs.
It was a big game.
Carl just for no reason decides to start shooting at me.
Yeah, he was going hard.
Hits the chat. Hey,
he was going hard.
Mike Evans lit y'all ass up.
I was laughing at it, but then I did look at the stats, and Mike Evans did fucking go off.
He went crazy.
But in the moment, it was like, damn, you going in right now.
The facts are the facts. But I'm not a heated rival. I'm not a Bengals fan. I'm not somebody that is any threat to the Steelers. I don't talk a lot of shit about my team, and I don't usually get going at the Steelers till he gets crazy. Yeah. But he just decided to send ricochets at me for not even ricochets, straight shots at me for no reason.
It was going hard.
So you best fucking believe I was watching the Dolphins game the whole time just to make sure that they won and kept the Steelers out. Yeah. And as soon as they did, I was ready to hit the chat, rub it all in. Oh,
the greatest part about that, I'm like, yes, we can get this shit off, was watching that game and they was up. You see they had to win, and then you see the whole stadium just get quiet and shit. It's like y'all was all on the high, and then once y'all see that the Dolphins was about to win the game, it was like, oh shit, our season over too.
Because everything looked like it was going perfect, son.
It did.
Y'all were losing the Bills. I believe at one point the Jets were up. Yeah, I believe the Jets were up at one point. So, like you said, everybody had so much hope. And as soon as that game went final, it's just like, the fans started leaving.
Yeah. Man, shit is fucking up.
I was like, yes. Done. Who cares?
I was like, yes, I fucking loved that. That was the only joy I can get out of this weekend.
It was so great.
That. So, got them up out of there so they could shut the hell up. And now the whack-ass Dolphins. Is Tua going to play? You think Tua going to play?
I do. And honestly, I don't know how you keep him out because, like, we all know from what they keep telling us, at least from what the doctors keep saying, they talk about the repeated concussions. And when you're getting into, like, 2, 3, 4, that's where it starts to get really bad.
Yeah.
This is going to be number 3 already in the same season. Mm-hmm. So clearly he shouldn't play for his long-term health. Yeah. But from a protocol standpoint, if he no longer has concussion symptoms this week,
he's going to be out there.
He's going to be out there. And he wants to play. So I can't imagine that he doesn't play. But I also can't imagine that he makes it through the Bills game without getting another one.
Yeah, it's very possible.
It's going to be playoff football. They're going to be rocking dudes. And he just seems fragile at this point. No disrespect.
It's very possible. I don't know. It's a bad look, especially off this Damar Hamlin shit, especially off the shit with him earlier this year. If he goes down in the playoff game, I don't even know who you point blame to at this point, but it's just going to be an even worse look for everybody involved.
It will. It will just be bad publicity across the board for everybody. So, I don't know. That is the one disappointing thing about them getting in.
Yeah.
Is they're like the one team that just doesn't belong at this point. If they're healthy and everything, they would belong.
Right.
We saw the potential that they had, but without him, they're not any good.
No.
And I don't even know who
just
they got.
Reminds me, how you feel about, I think it was the Steelers and I think it was the Bills or somebody. I forgot who the other team was, but they had like CPR celebrations. Did you see about that?
No.
No. Well, apparently the Steelers, like, whenever they get a sack, that D linemen do like this CPR celebrations. Apparently something they've been doing all season.
Okay.
So they did it again this Sunday. And people was like, all right, y'all could have switched it up for this week.
That's wild.
Like, this ain't the week to hit the CPR celebration.
I did not see that.
Yeah, they got a lot of heat off that shit. I was like, it's kind of like, all right, read the room, guys.
Yeah.
This probably ain't the one you should do this week, but they did it again anyway, and they got a lot of heat.
Oh, that's wild. That's wild.
It was another team. I forgot what team it was. It was another team. I want to say it was the Bills. I don't think it was. It might have been the Bengals or somebody like that.
Bengals had the coin flip celebration because they were pissed about that.
They did have the coin flips joint.
Which is funny.
I thought it was funny.
That's a good one.
It was even better when I seen that Ocho told the team, when he tweeted out the team, somebody got to do that shit, and they did it. I was like, oh, that's fire. That's fire. It makes sense.
Hilarious.
But yeah.
Well, since Carl couldn't be here, he told us he had some Steelers notes he wanted us to cover, and I was totally joking about, send it to us. We'll be sure to go over that. But he kept it fairly short, and I want to laugh at him in the future if this doesn't happen. So quickly, he says he wants to tell y'all about Kenny's improvement, showing he can close games, elite accuracy on the move, a playmaker out of structure, needs to improve on his pocket to make a significant jump next year. That was his first game note. Second one, George Pickens will be a top 5 receiver in 2 to 3 seasons with improvement in route running. I actually think he might be right about this. The catches that dude makes are retarded.
Really
how often he does it, it's not a fluke type of situation.
Yeah, can't lie, he's pretty nice.
Game note 3, I actually also agree with as well. Najee is a man-child and the most physical back in the league when healthy. He does play. I don't know of anybody else in the league that plays the way he does.
Mad aggressive, very Derrick Henry-esque.
I was just going to say, like, Henry will truck you, but, like, Najee is going out of his way to grab somebody by the face mask and toss him on the ground. He's a lunatic.
Yeah.
I like him.
He's always fucking jumping over and doing hurdles and shit.
Crazy shit.
Which I do think he will get fucked up eventually doing a hurdle on somebody, because he does them in, like, the most dangerous situations. He's hurdling motherfuckers. It's like, he be getting away with it, but
He could be a freak of nature for a couple of years, but that long-term career, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that all the time.
How strong you are. Somebody catch you in the air, you can go down just like anybody else.
You're going to get got. Last game note, he says, the Steelers should expect the Steelers to win no less than 11 to 12 games next year.
I mean, well, he says that about the Steelers every season.
He does. So hard to put a lot of stock in that. I think that's probably reasonable. They got to 9 this year. You would imagine Pickett would improve, but who cares? That was Carl's take. He wanted to make sure that y'all knew that, so I pass it along.
Good for them. Looking at the future, but we in the now.
We are. So take that L. You're not in the playoffs, bitch. Ha!
Yeah.
And I want to mess. Go ahead.
Lose like how we did. Lose off our own, because it was on us to win and we lost, than to win and have to depend on the Jets to help us get in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, like going into the game, I would much rather have your scenario.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Post game, I think I would rather have won my game and got held out because somebody else didn't win than to lose.
Yeah.
But it's semantics at that point. You're not in the playoffs. You're not in the playoffs.
It is. But, both at the same spot at the end of the day. So
Agreed.
Doesn't matter.
Panthers, real quick.
Yeah.
Meaningless win. Wanted them to lose this game. Of course, they're going down and getting a last-second field goal for no reason. I don't know how many draft spots it cost us. We're 9th next year in the draft.
Okay.
But I don't know why you win that game. Well, I know why Wilkes wants to win that game because he's still trying to get the head coaching job. But one of those that I'm just like, dog, we would have been so much better to lose that game and the Lions game, honestly. If you're not going to get in, then it doesn't matter.
Probably.
I also have a Steve Wilkes take. So I like the guy. I think he's a good leader. The players have been vocal about wanting him to be the head coach next year. So I do put a lot of stock in that. I think he should have a leg up on everybody else applying for the job.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're getting pressured a little bit into signing this dude from the media.
Okay.
Everything that I see is like they have to bring him back. Or they'll say he's done enough to earn the job. He deserves the job. This, that, and the third. He went 6-6. It's not like he did something crazy. He turned the team around and got them back on track to have a playoff run. Much respect. Yeah. But I just feel like the writing is on the wall for if he doesn't get hired, then it's a racist decision. And while I think he should have the top priority right now, if they can get Jim Harbaugh, or if there is a big-name coach, like it doesn't seem like the Tomlin firing thing is really a thing anymore now that they made their run. But if there was a big-name guy like that available, I'm 100% down for them to skip on Wilkes and go for somebody that's won before.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, you definitely should do that. You definitely should do that. I mean, of course, when you play a little better than you did with the coach that y'all fired, people are going to like him a little bit more and want to bring him back and see how he does with a full season. But if you got the opportunity to get one of those big name coaches, you should go for that. That's a no-brainer to me.
I want Harbaugh bad now.
Yeah.
Once they started floating the shit out there, I'm like, man, I've seen him win in the NFL. This is not some random college coach that we don't know if he's going to be good or not. We're a run the ball and play defense team. I mean, that just seems like a match.
Yeah.
I would really like that to happen.
I've been seeing the Broncos, they've been calling out to everybody.
Everybody, son.
Sean Payton, who's Raheem from the Rams, their defensive coordinator.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that one.
Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator for the Cowboys.
They're interviewing with Harbaugh.
They've been talking to all the big dogs. Yeah. They trying to get them one.
They're going to spend some money.
Yeah.
They're ready. I mean, you got to. The way you just invested in Russ, you got to find somebody that can lead the team as well.
You need a guy. You need a guy for sure.
They could actually get Peyton. Like we never had a shot at getting Sean Payton because his rights are still owned by the Saints. So somebody's going to have to trade for him, and they're going to demand something crazy, I'm sure, particularly in division.
Of course.
But we'll see how the coaching stuff shakes out. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Falcons, Bucks. I don't think there's anything really except for I believe Tyler Algier broke the rookie running back record.
Did he?
Or at least, if not that, he definitely went over 1,000 yards, which kind of sucks. Kind of sucks that he's going to be good, apparently. I don't know who that was before this year.
For the Falcons?
Yeah. Like, I don't know where he went to school or anything.
Oh, yeah, I don't know either. But that's dope, though.
Yeah, good for him, I suppose. Patriots, Bills, we already talked about. Vikings, Bears. Anything on that?
On Well, I thought something was interesting with what happened to get the Bears their first pick in the draft.
Yeah, let's go there and we can circle back on the Bears. Yeah. Texans, Colts.
The Texans beating the Colts.
Texans put on a crazy drive at the end of the game to get a touchdown right at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And then went for 2 to win it. And it's super weird because they were the number one draft. They were the first overall draft pick for the majority of the season. And by going for 2, they blow it. Now they're the 2 seed. They need a quarterback.
I have a theory.
And the Bears, I got one too. I think it's probably the same one. Bears don't need a quarterback. So the thought is that the Bears are going to trade to somebody because why not? And I hope that that's the Panthers again. But what's the theory? I think we're on the same page.
Well, Lovie Smith got fired.
An hour after the game.
As a Texans coach. Was going into the season when they hired him, we knew that was just going to be a one-off for him. We called that. We knew what time that was. So they fired him immediately after that game. And I think that he was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to fuck up this pick for y'all.
Yup.
We're going to do whatever we can to win this game today so y'all can lose that number 1 pick.
That was what I thought, too. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense. That's the only thing that makes sense.
The Magic Johnson meme. I'm not going to be here next year.
I know what time it is, so I'm going to fuck up y'all shit before I get up out of here.
Hilarious if that is the case.
That's got to be it. But that's fine. I mean, hey, they made it happen. They could have fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? They still made the drive happen and got the dub.
Right. So. There's like a lot of times where like people will make an argument against tanking, like in general. Mm-hmm. I think going into a season like trying to tank the whole year for the number 1 pick is terrible.
It is.
But you get to the last week of the season and you have it. That's a game you can't win. You have to lose that game no matter what it takes. Put third string, practice string guys out there. You cannot win that game.
Definitely.
Hilarious, bro. Hilarious.
Writing was on the wall. You say, all right, I got something for y'all.
I loved it so much.
Good old parting gift for y'all. I ain't mad at it. What else happened?
Steelers, Browns, we did. Broncos, Chargers, Eagles.
Kind of
mentioned
Giants.
Got the job done.
Dabo pump faked everybody. He stood strong on saying he won't benching none of the starters.
Oh, Dabo.
Last week. Oh, that Dabo's.
Yeah, Dabo, Clemson guy. I was like, what?
Dabo. He stood strong in that. I was like, he kind of had me fooled a little bit. Then the game started and none of them out there. So I'm like, okay, he pulled a fast one. Eagles started all their guys, and they got the dub that they needed to get. They look like the Eagles that we've seen all season before Hurts went down.
Pretty much. Giants still fought pretty hard.
They did.
They put up a hell of a fight, honestly, with as few guys as they were playing. And Galladay finally decides to catch a touchdown and a meaningless time and just fucked up one of my parlay bets. But
for real.
We'll keep it moving. I had -6.5, and they cover 6 because of that stupid touchdown.
Damn, this is whack.
Oh well.
I'm so glad we dodged that Galladay bullet. I was real hype on getting him too. I was so hype on getting Galladay out of that free agency.
He was so
he's been
good.
A dud. He was good. He was nasty with Detroit.
Yeah.
He was one of the top receivers that year.
What a bust of a signing. That's bad.
He fumbled so bad. I think they said he was like, they was calling him 007 for 0 touchdowns, 0 catches, and 7 drops. It's calling something like that.
I didn't hear
that. Was his stats for the year. Though. I was like, damn, that's fucking awful.
That's hilarious. Crazy. Yeah, they're on the hook for a big old contract, too.
Yeah, he's tied in. Yeah, Eagles did what they're supposed to do. They got the dub. Move on, secure their number 1 seed spot and get the bye next week.
Agreed.
So they're sitting pretty.
Niners, Cardinals.
Cards playing for nothing. Niners they started all their guys, and they blew them out and then benched them the whole fourth.
Oh yeah, right. I feel for you.
With that one, I was like, yeah.
I feel for you. That's tough. First play of the game, though, they threw a little flea flicker for a touchdown. Cardinals did immediately 7-0. It's like, oh snap! Are they gonna make this a game?
It came out hot.
Nah, they were not gonna make this a game.
It came out hot. I was like, damn. But yeah, Niners did what they were supposed to do. Not sure if they needed to start their starters. They didn't need to get this win.
They needed to lock in the 2 seed to win.
Okay.
Or they needed a win to lock in the 2 seed.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
It was relatively important, but probably could have pulled some guys earlier, honestly, than the fourth. But.
Yeah, because they was blowing them out by halftime.
By the way, I was looking at McCaffrey's stats since going to the Niners. He ended up playing in 11 games. Mm-hmm. And I think that first week was like 4 days after the trade or something. So he didn't even get like a full game in there. He's at 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns between rushing and receiving.
A lot of people don't get that in the whole season. That shit is nuts.
Throw him in the other offenses like, yeah, this guy can just do it anywhere. It just doesn't matter.
He's one of them ones.
What a monster.
Wish he would have got me 3 more rushing yards.
3 more.
But, it is what it is.
That hurts. Commanders, Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. Probably the most embarrassing of all the teams that were sealed in the playoffs to start their starters this weekend.
Yep.
They got tapped. And their starters played almost the whole game.
Right. Can't even blame it on that.
Yeah, like they literally got tapped with all their starters, and that's not a good feeling to go into the playoffs with.
Terrible.
Against your division rivals. Come on, what we doing?
and they got a real Dak problem right now.
Yeah.
I still like Dak overall, but he threw something like 15 or 16 interceptions this year, and he missed 5 games.
Yeah.
I believe the league lead was 17.
I seen a comparison where he has more interceptions than Mahomes with 250 less passes.
That's crazy, son.
I was like, yo, that's wild. But Dak is another one of those guys that falls in my category of, is he good? is he good, or is he just a guy that can launch the ball a little bit? But they made the playoffs, but it's just like, is he really good, or is he just a little above average?
Right now, it's a fair question to ask. I would say the same as I've been saying in most of these conversations. I think he's good, not great. But right now, he doesn't even look good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Gotta judge him where he's at currently, I guess, you know?
Yeah. It's tough, but that's really kind of their only problem is Dak playing consistently and not turning the ball over.
Yeah, defense looks
pretty good.
They've been running the ball well. They didn't last night, but
I don't think they ran the ball well the last couple of weeks as well. They've been having issues, what I think is what their brand of offense is based on. When they running good, they win.
They're trying to throw too much?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
When they're not, it's a totally different situation.
Well, good. I'd always love to watch the Cowboys suck. So,
yeah,
no tears over here.
Got to deal with it. Where we at? We going down to the last game?
Last 2 games. Seahawks-Rams.
Okay.
Seahawks-Rams was also a fairly disgusting game. The Seahawks looked terrible. Jalen Ramsey had 2 picks. And then on the other side of the ball, the Rams' offense is horrible right now. But in overtime, Seahawks have to win to be able to get a shot into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And they end up getting a major interception and end up grabbing the field goal to get the dub.
Yep.
Super unfortunate, honestly, because I was really hoping to see that Lions-Packers game to be winner gets in.
Yeah, that would be tough.
But Seahawks ruined it, and
they're in.
Yeah,
they sealed that spot.
I think they're. I don't.
Gotta give props to Geno, man. Geno was probably looked at as laughable if he was going to be your starting QB before the season.
100%.
And the way he played, I think they said he beat Russell Wilson's passing record.
He set the Seattle record
in his first season starting for him.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Can't get no better than that.
That's huge. Like, gotta give Pete Carroll some props because he was the one that made that decision to let Russ go and start Geno. I'm sure a lot of people thought he was crazy as hell to go with that decision, but it panned out, and they are in the playoffs.
And
they won.
They were expected to be like one of the bottom 4 teams in the league.
Yeah.
Not just struggle. They were supposed to be the bottom of the barrel.
Definitely.
Making the playoffs. They apparently draft well because they seem to always have some new guys that are really good at their position. Mm-hmm. Have you seen any of the comparisons between that? I think it's Tyreek Woolen, the cornerback, comparisons to him and Richard Sherman. Have you seen any of those?
I think I have heard that before.
Some of this stuff is kind of irrelevant, but it's more like just one of those weird how stuff works out. But him and Sherman were like 1 pick difference. I think they're like 100 or way deep in the draft, whatever. They're almost the exact same draft pick. Both 6'4" corners.
Yeah.
I forget what else it was. They both have 4 interceptions their rookie year. Just a lot of similarities. He was one of the guys that kind of got talked behind Sauce and Surtain for the rookie DBs, but he was like right up there as a lockdown dude right out the gates.
Oh, that's tough.
That's tough. They seem to keep the corner around. I don't know.
They got a good squad. I don't know what more pieces they probably would need, but they have a decent squad.
Yeah,
all around.
I didn't watch enough to see where the holes are, but got a great running back. Gino's doing his thing, so
they got Lockett and Metcalf.
Yeah.
Noah Fan at tight end. I mean,
still putting up yards. We'll see what happens with them.
Shout out to Gino, man. He earned my respect. I'm sure he earned most people's respect off this season.
He's gonna get a payday too.
Yeah.
Plus, I believe I saw he made an extra $3 million in incentives this year.
Yeah,
with the stuff that he did with, I don't know if it was just off of personal stats. I know he got something for making the playoffs.
Yeah, and playing
nice little payday
games. Yeah, I ain't mad at that.
Nah, not at all. I like Gino. He's a cool guy. I never thought he was good, but if he can be good, I'm a fan.
Gotta respect it. And then that leads us to the last game, the night game. Packers and Lions. Big time rivalry that the Packers have been on the better end of for most of our lives.
Pretty much my whole life.
So, came down to that. Lions got eliminated because the Seahawks won. So the Lions were literally just playing to put the Packers out of the fucking playoffs.
Did you hear Dan Campbell's quote in the game?
Yeah.
Fucking loved it. They're doing a little sideline reporter thing, and he's like, I told the team we're either getting in the playoffs or they're not. I was like, yo, that's gangster.
That's all you need to say. That's right. That's a bar right there to start the game off. Hey, we plan to get the Packers the hell up out of here, and that's exactly what they did.
That was one of the best games of the year, honestly, I feel like.
Yeah, it was a good game.
It was just like you're not expecting that everybody knows, the whole Rodgers story. And if that's the last thing that you need after they've made like a crazy comeback the last 6 weeks to get into this spot as well, seemed like a foregone conclusion that they're going to win that spot and get into the playoffs.
Like you said, if the Seahawks would have lost and that game was to get in the playoffs and they win it to get in there, like, the NFL is fucking good, man. Like, it's hard to think that they not like setting this shit up for us to like, because everybody been fucking with the Lions low key all season. They was in the what's the show?
Hard Knocks.
They was in Hard Knocks at the beginning of the season, so you see their inner workings and how their coach works out with the team and all that. To see that story of having the worst record first half of the season to how many games straight they won or some shit like that. I forgot the
6 or 7. They started 1-6 or maybe it was 1-7 and then went something like 7-1. I think that's what it was. I think it was 1-7 and went 7-1.
That's nuts.
The last 8 weeks or something like that.
To have that turnaround to finish over 500, 9-8, put the Packers out. That was their championship.
Absolutely.
Like, you got to take that that's a successful season. Even though we didn't make it to the playoffs, y'all did everything y'all could to get in there. So, got to give them props.
One of my best friends is a Lions fan, and he treated it as a Super Bowl last night. He was so ecstatic. Woke up this morning, he's like, bro, I've been watching everything I can about the Lions.
You got to. You got to love that for sure.
Absolutely. Jamal Williams breaking Barry Sanders' rushing record was kind of wild. Touchdown record, team record at least. 17
wild.
touchdowns.
17 of
Crazy.
I like Jamal Williams. Do you see his little intro in the game?
Son.
I was dying. I watched that shit like 20 times.
Did you see his locker room interview the week before?
I don't think I seen that.
Or maybe it was in the week of like practice going up to it, and the reporter was asking him about like, have you seen anything on TV about the Packers? Kind of saying like, we're gonna get this done, that kind of thing, and he was like, I don't watch TV. And he like asked him again. He's like, no, for real, I don't watch TV. He's like whispering and stuff. He's like, I just want to go home and play Pokemon. And the guy said something about, I just got my nephew some Pokemon cards. And he was like, no, we're not going to do that. Pokemon. It's Pokemon.
Pokemon.
It was hilarious, bro. You got to see it. Dude is a character.
Yeah, he's a funny dude, for sure. He should start a podcast. It should probably be hilarious.
He really should. Really should. Funny
I fuck
guy.
with Jamal Williams, though. He's a tough player.
So, great end of the season, man. Great end of the season. It's wild because it was like the same thing on both sides for the Lions and the Steelers. They both needed multiple teams to lose, and they needed to win.
Yep.
And they get so close, and then that last team fucks it up with their dub. But
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It happens every year.
For real. This is not playoff related, but I wrote this down. So I saw earlier in the week this clip of like, it was like just times that Joe Burrow would answer questions, and he always answers these questions. He's like, I kind of think that we're gonna be all right. He's like, what do you think about next week's game? He's like, it's gonna be kind of tough. And he just, I can't think of anybody that has like visually has more swag and composure than he does. And then when you hear him talk, sounds like a timid little kid that couldn't lead anybody. Do you know what I'm saying?
And he got this childish face to him, too. Look like he's about 16.
Straight up out of Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin. Yeah. It's so weird to me that he, like, plays the way he does, and they had another cigar picture in the locker room from yesterday, just swagged out. And then you hear him talk, and he's like, it just doesn't sound very confident. It's kind of like, I'm just kind of here. I don't know. That dude cracks me up, bro.
It's funny. I think it might be, I don't know if it's a front. I think it's how he actually talks. But it's like, I think he turns it on and off when he's like in his mode or whatever.
Goes humble mode in the interviews.
I think he turns it on and off, which it's like, again, it's kind of like a Brady-esque to me. Like, when he's sitting at the podium answering questions, he's all politically correct and just answering direct.
Yeah.
As soon as he walks off, he's like, we fucked them up. We did that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, talking shit. Like, it's that type of play. You can turn it on and off when you're in front of the media. But when his guys, his team, he's that dude.
Nah, I think you might be right. I think you might be right.
Turns into Joe Shiesty.
Right. Gangsta out here. All right, well, now that we got the season wrapped up, we got the big wild card round coming up next week. We got to do some quick predictions here. I'm gonna keep track of it, see how we do, see who's the best predictor throughout the playoffs. What do we got? Who's the first game of the playoffs?
First game next Saturday, starting out with the Niners and the Seahawks. Good NFC battle right there.
Yeah, I think this is a beatdown.
Yeah,
I think this is a beatdown. I think the Niners got to be like one of the top Super Bowl favorites. I'm going Niners for sure. And I think we're looking at like a real beatdown, son. I think we're looking at 37-17.
Yeah, I can see that. I was there. I'll probably say a little bit worse. I think now it's going to whoop them probably like 31-10-ish, maybe 31-7. Something like that. They might be able to squeak one touchdown in there, but it should be dominance. That defense ain't nothing to play with.
I got Carl to send us his picks, too. He's got Niners 33-21. So, of course, we're all same on the Niners. That was an easy one.
Yeah, pretty much. Night game, the battle that we've all been waiting for. Chargers and the Jags in Jacksonville.
So I'll go ahead and throw Carl's out here. Carl's got Chargers 24-23.
Okay, very close. Look like a right at the end type of win, or maybe overtime field goal type situation.
Right. I'm really torn on this one, to be honest with you. I think that the way that the Jags closed out the season, I mean, the Chargers had a really strong run at the end of the year as well. It's hard to believe in the Chargers because they always seem like they're going to be good, and they always fizzle out. And I do think there's some legitimate concerns with some of the coaching decisions and big moments and shit like that. And Doug Peterson's obviously been there before. I'm going to reluctantly take the Jags, and I think we're looking at 24-21.
I was kind of thinking that same score.
I do think it's going to be close, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. Like I said, it's two good teams, but kind of like, hinted at this a few weeks ago in comparison with Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert, saying at some point at the end of this season or going into the next season, we're having a different conversation about these two QBs. I think this is the right game to put that stamp on who's the guy. And since they're playing down in Duval, I got to roll with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got the home field advantage. The team is not supposed to be here halfway through. Is here. They probably one of the hottest teams going into the playoffs, 5-game winning streak. Trevor's been hot. I think they can get it done. So I'm going to go with I was thinking that same score. I switched it up a little bit. Let's go 28-21.
Okay.
I think they'll handily win by a touchdown or so.
So how do you rank them right now? Just 1-2. Between the two of them, who do you think is the better quarterback right now?
How do I rank them? I mean, it's kind of, I want to say that they even. Of course, Herbert got the crazy stats, but I put more merit in you taking a team that was the worst in the NFL last year into the playoffs this year. I feel like that's a large feat to take. I think Herbert kind of came into a team that had nice pieces with him. They added more pieces to him this season.
For sure.
So I think I will have to go with Trevor just off that, but both of them are evenly skilled, I would think, as far as QBs go. But I think Trevor Lawrence has shown that he can lead a team that's not supposed to be there to the promised land, so to speak. Not saying they're going to win the championship, but I think they can get at least one win in the playoffs. So
that's fair. That's fair.
What do I say about it?
I don't think it's like a huge gap. I do think Herbert's better currently. You know, he does have a lot more weapons and stuff, but I mean, the numbers he puts up individually are incredible.
They're ridiculous.
And I don't necessarily think that if if Lawrence wins this game, I won't look at them differently. I don't think immediately.
Right.
I don't think him winning this playoff matchup would mean like he's better than Herbert. I'm still gonna have him higher probably until like another year, because Lawrence kind of had a rough rookie season. This year he's made a huge bounce back, but Herbert's been putting up the numbers since he came in. So if next year Lawrence continues to like improve and puts up another huge season, I think at that point you can have a little bit more of a discussion. But as of right now, I mean, honestly, I think Herbert's just the clear one out of those two if you had to pick one. But it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Both great quarterbacks. I think most teams would like either one of them.
Yeah. Sure, it'll be a good game at the very least.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Very least.
What else we got?
Going into Sunday, first game, 1 o'clock. AFC East battle, Dolphins versus the Bills.
So, I mean, the two is the big question. I think the Bills win either way. But we've seen them play really close. I don't remember how the first matchup went, but I know that second one was when we were supposed to get crazy snow, and it was like back and forth, touchdowns.
I think the first one, the Dolphins pulled it out, was a high-scoring joint.
Okay, so they got the dub.
Pulled that one out,
So, I mean, clearly if Tua plays, they have what it takes to be able to beat them.
I think that was like, I want to say that was like the peak of like the Dolphins hype when they beat the Bills.
Like the first 6 or 7 weeks, I think.
It was like the peak of that when it was like, oh shit, they look like they about to take it all the way, and then Tua gets concussions and that shit started.
Right. Whole different ball game at that point. But I'm definitely going Bills, and I don't think Tua is going to end up playing. So with that, I mean, the score, I can't imagine it being close at all. I'm going to have to go 31 to, I mean, if they got Bridgewater playing, I'd give them 17 or something. But if Skylar Thompson is out there, they're not getting 10 points.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be tough for them to score at all. He's out there.
Might get shut out.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen might get a little reckless once they're up some points and give them a turnover and good field position, but that one's not going to be close at all. I'll stick with what I said. I'll go 31 to 17. I'm assuming Teddy starts in that scenario, but that's my guess. Carl's got 28-16 Bills.
Okay. I agree. That we all agree on the Bills should get this dub. I think it should be a very easy dub if Tua plays or not. Because I don't think Tua's coming back after, being out for a while and then going to light it up.
That's fair.
So I think Dolphins should beat them. I think it'll be like a blowout. I'm thinking like 38-10, 38-7 or some shit like that. I like it. I think they'll put it on them pretty heavy. So I think that's going to play out. But, all right. Afternoon game, 4:30. Giants versus the Vikings.
Yeah, these next 3 games are the ones. These are going to be the tough ones to get.
Yeah.
Carl's got Giants 2017.
Ooh, yeah.
Giants are going to be the most trendy pick of the week for the upset.
Of course.
Easily have to be. They've overperformed, and the Vikings, as great as their record was, they still had what was it, the worst point differential ever for a team to win that many games.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to the Vikings. I think they pull it out, but they're going to make it nasty. And
it's going to be nasty.
It's going to be gross. I think
it's going to be nasty.
I'm going to go 24-20 is what I'll go.
Okay.
I would imagine whoever wins is probably going to be on the last 3 minutes of the game.
Right.
But Justin Jefferson, the Giants secondary is terrible.
Yeah.
And I just don't think you can hold down Justin Jefferson the whole game. It just doesn't seem possible. So I got to go that way.
I agree with all them points you made for sure. So I have to reluctantly pick the Vikings. I think my gut feeling wants to go with the Giants, but the smart pick is the Vikings to pick in this situation. They're playing at home. I think Jefferson's going to go off. He's going to have a field day. And I think Dalvin Cook's still playing. I think they'll just dominate their defense with all the offensive weapons they got. Giants probably will make it a game, so I think it might be fairly close. I'm thinking like maybe like a 24-17 situation. I think that might be what you just said. Something close like that. I think they'll put up a couple touchdowns and make it a game, but Vikings should pull it off at the end.
Yeah, I said 24-20. I'm going to stick with that since that's what I had, but Vikings defense is equally horrible. It's kind of hard to imagine that this isn't a shootout, honestly, but I said 24-20. I'll stick with it.
Yeah, I ain't mad at it. All right. Night game. AFC North battle. Ravens, Bengals.
Carl's got Baltimore 24-20, and I think he's smoking crack when he wrote this over here.
That's wild.
He still is trying to buy into this Lamar Jackson thing.
Is Lamar even playing?
There's nobody knows.
I haven't heard anybody talk about him in about 5 weeks.
Right.
What's going on with him? Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I'll go ahead and get my shit all out the way. I think if he plays or not, the Bengals are going to whoop that ass. Like, we've seen how the Ravens have been this season, even with Lamar on the field. They started off hot, then they've struggled to score ever since after like the first 4 weeks. Haven't been able to put them to points. Defense has been playing hot and cold. Some weeks they play all right. Other weeks they're getting lit up. So I think the Bengals going to blow them, going to tap them easily. I don't know if they're going to blow them out, but I think they'll tap them and get the win easily.
I got the Bengals for sure, too. I don't think it matters if Lamar plays or not. At this point, he'll be coming in off of 5, 6, 7 weeks off. There's no way he comes back sharp. And he's already proven that he doesn't show up in the big game anyway, in my opinion. So I don't think it matters if he had played all these games.
True indeed.
There's no chance they win this game. The only thing that could keep it even kind of close is from what I've been hearing, the Bengals suffered multiple offensive line injuries the last couple of weeks.
Same as last year.
So we're right back to last year where Burrow's going to have to run for his life and make things happen.
Yeah.
I think he can do that, but it is going to be probably a big detriment towards their Super Bowl run. I don't think it matters this week, though. They get the job done. Give a score. I'll go 30-17. That's too much.
They're division, like a lot for the Ravens.
It does, but they're a division rival. I just feel like they're going to put up something. So maybe I go 24-17.
Okay.
Keep it a little bit closer.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. I'll do 28-13-ish. I'll do something like that. I think that'd be a good score. But all right, what we got after that? Monday night game.
Which is bullshit.
NFC wild card, Cowboys and Bucks. It's going down. Who you got?
Carl's got Cowboys 31-13. Again, I think he might have been smoking crack on that one as well. I hate this game. I'm super torn on this. I think the Cowboys are much better.
Yeah.
But they've played like such trash, and there still is just the ghost of Tom Brady where you assume he gets into the playoffs and he's going to level up another notch. I think they're fool's gold as far as people are really hype on their offense being back because they torched our fourth and fifth corners. I think that they're still not a good offense. And Evans' one game is not going to change that. When they play the Cowboys, they're not going to be slinging the ball all over the field.
Yeah.
Not with their defense. So, I mean, I'm kind of reluctantly going to have to take the Cowboys, but I don't believe in that strongly by any means.
This is one of the toughest ones to call.
27-24.
27-24? Pretty close. I think they opened the season opener when the last time they played.
It was a crazy game.
Tampa Bay won 19-3.
I thought it was super high scoring. I'm thinking a different game, 19-3.
Leonard Fournette just ran all over him. He had 127 yards.
Ugh.
That's probably been his best game of the season.
Best game of his career.
He went nuts on them, but they tapped him pretty handily. But we know the season that the Bucs done had. They've been struggling to score most of the season. And it seemed like they kind of turned it on, starting with y'all a couple weeks ago. Got tapped by the Falcons yesterday. I don't know why they had their starters in, but they did, and they got tapped.
They only play like a quarter.
Okay, they ain't playing
at most. Yeah, okay. No, they gave that game up.
All right, cool. But it's hard to call. My gut wants me to go with Tom to get that dub on them.
Yeah.
But I feel like the smart call might be the Cowboys. Even though they had that tough loss against the Skins, I think they'll get that running game up and they'll be able to run all over the Bucs and get the dub. I think it'll be close. So I say the Cowboys will get it 24-17-ish, something like that.
Yeah.
I think they can make it handle that defense and hold up for the most part.
I think
Cowboys can get it, but I don't see the Bucs putting up a whole lot of points considering how they've been struggling to put up points all season.
No, they run their offense similar to what Carl's talked about all year with the Steelers. They're running 4 or 5 6-yard routes, and that's the offense. I don't think that's going to work with a legitimate defense out there.
It's not going to cut it.
Nope.
It's not going to cut it. I hate to go with the Cowboys, but, all around they got the better team. They should get that dub.
Right. If they lose, it's more of a mark on them than Tampa, I would say.
Yes, indeed. But hey, they say never bet against Brady in the playoffs. You might sneak that shit out. You never know.
Probably a good idea. I may stay out of that game.
Yeah,
I may avoid it altogether.
Tough one to call. Well, there we have it.
All right, well, we went super long on football, so we'll keep it moving. We still got a couple other sports-related topics.
We're good.
Dana White. I had to bring up Dana White. Dana White's situation. Last week I saw on ESPN some headline about Dana White. Clicked on it, ended up watching the video. You said you saw the video?
Oh, I didn't see the video. I didn't know it was a video out.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see
There's a video out there.
Is a video out too?
Yeah.
Was it bad?
Kind of. So this is why I wanted to talk about this, to be honest. So the situation is they're in a nightclub. They're on family vacation down in Mexico or something like that. Mm-hmm. They're in a nightclub, him and his wife, and the video is really short, but they're having a little discussion or whatever, argument. Didn't look crazy at first. Mm-hmm. And then she slapped him in the face. Mm-hmm. And his reaction was to slap her right back. Mm-hmm. And then kind of a little, I don't know if he pushed or she kind of just took off the other way, and he kind of like took a couple steps towards her. And that's pretty much all that happened and all that you see. So the reason I thought this was so interesting, obviously, I don't think there's any reason to hit a girl even if you get slapped in the face.
Right. You got to take that L.
Yeah, you just can't do it. Just can't do it. But it's going to sound bad. It is what it is. Don't clip this part. It's more understandable. I can at least see how it got to that point. Whereas different than where you just see some dude like punching the shit out of his wife.
Yeah, if he would have responded with a punch and like knocked her to the ground,
right, totally different. But it is interesting to see, like, although it's been open where if you could find anywhere the video and what's taking place. Yeah, it hasn't been a front page news story.
Hasn't.
It did happen the day after or 2 days after the Damar Hamlin thing. Okay. So he kind of dominated the whole news cycle this week. But, I was just trying to think about it like as unbiased as possible. Because, anytime situations like these come up, there's obviously a lot of discussion about how black athletes, coaches, whatever, are treated and how the media views situations with black people compared to white.
Demonized.
And I don't really know where I stand on this, to be honest. He certainly has gotten less attention for something that would have been made a huge deal if it was some NFL player.
Yeah.
I do think there's a reason for it in that, like I just said, like, she slapped him in the face and he slapped her back. Like, there's a little bit of I can see why somebody would do that, even though it's wrong. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I haven't made my final decision. I've been trying to really consider, is it simply because he is white that he's getting a more favorable treatment? Is it also because UFC is in such tight business with ESPN that they don't want to go in on him that way? I don't know the answer. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I hadn't heard about it. Like I said, I didn't even see the video. I didn't know the video was out. How I found out about it was a clip on Twitter of Stephen A. and them talking about it on First Take.
Oh, okay.
And of course, if somebody had a capture with it, and the poster was like, damn, look at how they treating this situation with him. They was talking, it was like a 3-minute clip. They was real calm about it, real considerate, real thoughtful about, I think even, what's the girl's name on First Take? I can't think of her name. Molly? Is it Molly?
Might be.
One of them. I think it was Molly, whatever. She was saying, like, I don't agree that she shouldn't have hit him either. They was, like, on the defense of the girl shouldn't have hit him first and all this. And, like, they was handling it real soft, like, being real considerate of the situation, even though there was a whole video out of it. So I thought that was odd, but I just think people just don't give a damn. Like, at the end of the day, like, it seems like it wasn't that big of a deal. They addressed it real quick and was real cool about it. They didn't really go at him hard. I thought it was odd, but... Like you said, if it happened during the Damar Hamlin shit, like right after that, then that's probably why nobody was really talking about it. Everybody was talking about that situation. So
yeah,
I think that's most of the reason. So I don't think people cared enough. I think if it was more egregious, they probably would have cared more.
Right.
But the fact that it was just like a little 1-2 thing, even though it was still fucked up, people were just like more wanting to talk about Damar and the situation with him and getting more conversations about that and players and the league and all that. So I think that might be the reason why it wasn't talked about as much, and the fact that it wasn't like crazy, like he ain't beat the girl up type shit, like But it's still fucked up. But either at the end of the day, I don't think people cared too much about it.
I hear you.
Because I ain't heard nothing else talk about it. That's like literally the only thing I seen.
Right. It has been very quiet. I like to try to look at my own bias on stuff like that, because the other thing is how I found it actually was a TMZ article where he was talking to TMZ about the situation. They're asking him about it, and the way he handled it was honestly the best that you could. Mm-hmm. He like right from the jump was like, I was wrong. There's never an excuse to hit a woman. This is the most embarrassing thing. A lot of stuff that people say before, but they almost tried to kind of give him the out. Like, what happened? Why was it so heated? And he just was like, there's no coming back from hitting a woman. There's nothing I can say that's going to make this better. And just, he really seemed to take accountability for it. But that's where I was more interested in, like, would I have felt that same, I believe him, he seems like it was a mistake kind of thing, if that was Ray Rice. I don't know the answer to that.
What if you like double down? Like, I have a league where I have women hitting women. Like, shit like that.
He did have a show.
Some shit like that.
He's got a show that was supposed to drop on TBS like within the next couple of weeks. It was like slapboxing that got dropped because of it right away.
I bet it did. That's funny. But hey, I guess he did what he had to do.
Yeah, I don't know. The shitty situation. I don't think he's the greatest dude in the world. Don't get me wrong. There's other things that he's been involved in. I don't think he's the greatest character. But the other related situation I had mentioned to you, USA Soccer. This is nuts.
Oh, what we got?
It's like corruption type shit. So
that's soccer.
Right.
Soccer is corrupt as shit.
Yeah. But this is a weird one. So the USA men's head coach, apparently during the World Cup, one of the players on the team is like a 20-year-old kid. He did something immature and stupid or whatever. They didn't really elaborate that. I don't think it was illegal, but I think it was just like he wasn't being a good teammate kind of thing. Okay. And got benched and didn't play much in the World Cup at all. And the coach apparently was asked about it and addressed it to the media and just made it known that he wasn't playing because he was being immature or whatever. So his mom contacts the USA Soccer,
the player's mom?
Okay. Contacts the soccer organization, USA or whatever, and tells them that when she was roommates with the USA Soccer coach's wife back 30 years ago, because they were all soccer players, and that the coach had assaulted the wife 30 years ago.
Oh, damn.
So the coach says that he was contacted and told by this mom and their family that they had something that they were going to take him down with because of the way he benched their son. Oh. So he owns up to the situation and says, yes, 30 years ago, there was an incident where he kicked his wife in an argument and just owned it from the beginning. But basically, it was like they were trying to blackmail me. So I'm addressing this right now because I was being blackballed by this player's parents. And then the more that I'm listening to the story, it comes out that these two families are super tight. They've known each other for 30 years.
Yeah,
like
apparently.
they're friends and stuff.
Yeah, if they was all in the same situation 30 years ago, just knowing that personally.
Crazy, bro. But then the response afterwards, I was expecting, similar to what we were just talking about with Dana. It seems like no matter what the situation is, people hear about a woman getting hit and they're like, nah, fuck that dude forever. He's got to lose his job, get him out of here.
Right.
But the response, like even by the ESPN people, have just been, this is crazy that his parents are trying to blackmail this man for something that happened 30 years ago. You got to check out this story, bro.
That's kind of wild.
Nuts.
It's weird how they pick and choose, though. Like, I don't understand. Like, it was 30 years ago. Yeah, she was trying to blackmail him for it, but damn, like, he needs some type of pushback. Like,
yeah.
Like, at least, but I don't know. That's weird. That's a weird situation.
Very weird.
I don't even know if it's like a conspiracy. It's just like...
Nah. It's just people being nasty.
It just shows you that in most cases, people don't care unless they care about the person or they know the celebrity or whatever. Nobody knows this coach.
Right.
Nobody gives a damn about what his past was or this, that, and the third. Like, if he was like a more well-known coach or somebody, a celebrity or a player that we like, it'd probably be more bigger of a story. But kind of common to the Dana White shit, like, everybody know who Dana White is for the most part, but he's not one of the big stars out of the situation where everybody's worried about what he's doing outside of the sport. So I think it's just one of those, like, we only care when it's somebody that's super famous.
It does seem that way. It really
At
does.
the end of the day. Anybody else is like, all right, I mean, we could talk about it because he is a coach of our country's league, but ain't nobody going to do much about it. It's not like no charges was brought up or anything like that. So they can address it and move on.
Yeah, they've been married. Been married for 30 years since the incident.
They still together. What you want us to say?
Wild, though. Back to back, it was like the same day I was reading both of those stories. I was like, Jesus, what is going on out here?
Damn. That's funny.
NBA. You had a few NBA topics, I believe. What were they?
Well, I did have one specific topic about, there's been a lot of debate on all-star teams, particularly the Eastern all-star team in their front court, because they got so many studs on that team this year that somebody's going to have to be on the bench.
Right.
And at least 4 of the front court guys all deserve to be starters on the all-star team this year, which is KD, Giannis, Embiid, and Tatum. So the question is,
what a stack.
Which one of those are you benching? Are you bringing off the bench?
So you're getting 3 of them in, right?
Yeah.
All right.
3 of them could start.
KD, Giannis, Embiid,
and Tatum.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
It's tough.
I feel bad, bro. I feel bad, bro. But out of those guys,
and that's the order they are in the All-Star votes. It's KD, Giannis, Embiid, Tatum. That's the order of votes that they got.
We were talking about it a little bit before we recorded.
Yeah.
KD just got hurt. He's supposed to be out for a few weeks, and Embiid has been hurt. Mm-hmm. So I think the situation's going to resolve itself. But if we just assume that all of them were healthy, I would leave Tatum out of the starting lineup. It's hard to overtake KD, and I know like All-Star game position doesn't really matter, but I think of Embiid as the clear 5 and Giannis as the clear 4. So I look at it more like who gets just the spot for the 3 spot, and then Tatum might even have better numbers than KD right now. I don't know, but it's KD. It's just hard to say KD should be benched. You know what I'm saying?
This year too.
What would you do?
They said he's having his best scoring year of his career this year.
KD?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is nuts.
I did see something about his stats being better right now than it was pre-Achilles.
Yeah, it was.
Which is crazy.
Like he's how KD gets down. He's not. Some games will shoot a lot of threes, but most of the time he's killing the mid-range and taking it to the rack, and high percentage shooting he's doing. So it makes sense.
We had real conversations on the pod, like not about him being like done after the Achilles, but it was like he's probably gonna have to change his game. He's probably never gonna be the same player. Nah, he's right back.
He's better than ever.
That's
better
crazy.
Than ever now. So bias, of course. I will probably bring Embiid off the bench and let Giannis be the center, KD be the power forward, and have Tatum be the small forward. Is how I would do it. But that's, of course, it's full of bias. But like you said, Embiid and KD both hurt. Tatum and Giannis will probably end up starting anyway. Mm-hmm. So it'll all work out.
There's not a wrong answer.
All of them deserve to be there. They all should be a starter on the All-Star team. But
right.
Somebody got to get benched if they are healthy. So,
do you know how they're doing it this year? Are they doing the draft thing where they got the two guys picking a team, or?
I think they are. I think that's how they're going to keep it. Like just doing the pickup way. It makes sense. I like it.
I do too. I think it's kind of cool.
Makes it a little fun, a little entertaining, and get to see Chuck and them sitting right there talking shit while you taking pics.
Hilarious, bro.
That's some good entertaining TV right there. Can't be mad at it.
Has there been, last week we talked about how Luka was going off. Has there been anybody this week that's kind of had?
Oh, fucking crazy? Donovan Mitchell with his 71-point game last week.
That was the same night.
Same night.
71 was the same night as Hamlin.
The Hamlin shit, yep.
And there was another thing, too. I think it was Rutgers or some nobody beat number 1 Purdue.
Oh, damn.
That same night, it was just like, nobody's going to remember any of this stuff because it's all
At
the
all.
more.
At all. But, yeah, he dropped 71.
71
Who was that
crazy.
against? I can't remember what team it was. I'm trying to remember.
Hawks?
It was the Bulls. It was the Bulls because DeRozan had 44 in the same game. I remember that.
I think there was multiple 50s that night.
Yep. I think LeBron had a 50-point game.
Clay had 54.
Clay had a 50-point game. Yep. I think the next day, Giannis had a 50-point game. It was a bunch of fucking high-scoring games like the beginning of the week.
Yeah, scoring.
The second half of the week, everybody came back down to normal.
What do you think about all this high scoring? Laurie Markkinen had a 49 the other night.
Yeah.
It just seems like every night somebody's going for 45, 50.
What was that stat you say? Somebody said there's been as many 50-point games at this point in the season than the whole last season?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's fucking crazy.
I was listening to Wilbon and Jalen Rose before one of the games earlier this week, and they were talking about it, and they weren't like necessarily talking shit or like doing the old head, this is ridiculous kind of thing, but they were saying like the game has just changed so much and continues to go so offensive with the rules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to ignore at a certain point, like it's almost a different game.
Yeah.
Even than just like 5 years ago. When you're seeing guys go off like this, I like it. It's exciting, but I don't know. I get like a little, what's going on here? It shouldn't be that everybody can just go get 50.
Right.
I don't like that.
I don't know if the rules of the game has made it like this. I think the pace of the game, a lot more teams are playing high-paced, fast-break games, so there's going to be more scoring involved with that, and that's the toughest position for a defense to be. It's always being in the fast break.
Right.
You're most likely going to get beat in that unless they miss a shot. But I don't know how to call it, man. It's just a lot of shooting, a lot of people taking efficient shots. Like I think a few years ago we were seeing like the threes go up crazy. Now I think people are taking way more efficient shots and they're hitting them on a regular basis. So that's going to amount to more scoring. Like a lot of guys most of the stars or the best scorers in this league can get to their spots and get their points whenever they want.
Yeah,
nobody's going to stop it. No matter if you double team or whatever you do to them. Certain games, there's just nothing you can do about it. They're going to score regardless. So I just think the offense is just on such a high level at this point. But the offense is at such a high level at this point, it's just like there's nothing you can really do about it, no matter what defense you play.
Yeah.
People going to score. I be seeing like, as KD as a reference, like, how people be playing him. It's like when KD is in that zone, he don't even see the defense.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter. You can have a hand in his face, all over him, fouling him. He's getting that shot off, and he's going to make that shit 8 times out of 10.
It's too damn big, son. Way too damn big.
It's something you just can't do nothing about. When a player is feeling this, nothing you can do but foul him.
Right.
Just nothing you can do. So,
and most of those guys are just going to eat at the line as well.
Yeah,
it don't even matter there.
Exactly. So I just think it's just offense is super efficient right now. From all three levels of scoring.
It's hard to argue that the game is not like as exciting as it's ever been, so I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Right. I do look at some of the stats and the records might look a little bit different moving forward.
Yeah.
Like we always have to talk about different eras and stuff, but even like I said, like even just like 5-year difference, I don't know if a couple of years from now will we still be like absolutely blown away by a guy averaging 30. like the league leaders might be averaging 38 or something in a couple of years. I just think you're going to continue to see that go up, and I don't know, it just kind of changes how that fits into the landscape of all-time greatness when you're looking at different stats that way.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I think people shouldn't do it anyway because it's just different games or whatever every era.
Right.
But people are going to still do it, and it's going to get to a point where it's like, yo, teams is averaging 150 points a game.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is going on?
It happens a lot right now.
We
team dropped.
Last week we had a game against OKC, and they didn't have Shai Gilgeous, and they put up 150 on us.
That was crazy.
With backups. It was like, I think it was like the worst loss we had in like 2 decades or some shit like that.
I watched a decent amount of that too.
I was like, yo, what can you do? Like Shai Gilgeous, I think he's averaging like 32 a game. He wasn't even playing that game. They still put up 150.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't realize he didn't play. Yeah. Just the 150 alone, even with him, there would have been nuts. But
that's wild.
Bucks just gave. I don't know what the final ended up being. Bucks just gave up 86 to the Hornets in the first half. Couple nights ago.
That was after the Giannis had that 50-point game. They came back a couple days later.
Friday night.
And they were struggling. I think like the first quarter, it was like in single digits at the end of the first quarter or something.
I think that was a different game. I did see that one, though. I think it finished like 14-10 in the first quarter or something, whoever they played.
I think it was.
The Hornets gave them 84, I believe, in the first half. It's ridiculous.
It's just crazy, bro. A lot of scoring. What can you do? Hope they miss.
Yeah, right. Just pray.
That's all you can do. What we got next? Is that it for basketball?
I think that was it that we had on sports. We had a few music or entertainment-related topics.
We can get into that boy Meek real quick. Apparently Ghana was like the hot spot for New Year's this year. Seeing a lot of people going down there, a lot of celebrities just in Ghana living the nightlife down there for New Year's. So it's pretty hype down there, so to speak. Meek was down there. He's big on like the bike life. So down in Ghana, they have like a real culture of bike life down there. So he was down there with the people riding bikes and doing what he do. And he apparently got pickpocketed. He tweeted about it, which, by the way, he's back on Twitter. Yeah, he said he was off Twitter like a month ago. He's back. Back getting his tweets off. He tweeted out, somebody found my phone. I think I got pickpocketed. Yada, yada, yada. Literally, like, I think that same day or maybe the next day, they found a dude that had his phone. They posted his picture. He locked him up, arrested him and everything, got his phone back to him. And Meek went right on the internet and said, yo, my bad. Like, I don't know if I got pickpocketed. I ain't trying to, like, get nobody in trouble. So I guess he felt like he ratted on dude or dissed on dude to get caught up. Was apparently, like, I guess in Ghana, like, I was watching the Ray 80s the other day. Charlamagne was talking about it because he was in Ghana too for New Year's. He was like, apparently, like, their culture is like they like really shun. It's not like a lot of crime. They don't mess with guns a lot. Only thing that happens is people have pickpockets and people steal. He's like, but their culture is like really shuns like thieves. So like if you said somebody stole something, like they like anybody would just start beating them up. Or some like on command type shit for whoever finds out that you stole something from somebody. So that's obviously what happened with Meek shit. He put that out and they found him immediately and got this phone back to him. So I was like, oh damn, they don't play about that shit down there.
That's wild.
So they even like just like a him thing. It was just anybody, especially somebody that's coming from over there traveling. If you get something stolen from you, let somebody know and they're gonna get that shit back for you.
That's wild. Like, I was just gonna say, like, I could see somebody getting it back for him and like, helping out the celebrity kind of thing, but I wouldn't expect somebody to get arrested for it. That's crazy.
Yeah,
like the authorities out here trying to find his phone.
They said they don't play that shit down there. So that's what happened. He got his shit back, and then he tried to renege, putting him on blast.
That's wild.
And also, while he was down there, he was shot a video in this place called the Jubilee House, which is apparently like Ghana's White House. Their like political house where the president is and all this stuff is going on. Mm-hmm. Shot a video. He put that shit out the other day. It was a fire song, by the way. That shit hard. The video hard, but basically the whole video was in this place, this political
inside
building, like inside and outside and all through it, like in probably places that you shouldn't be recording the video and putting it out to the public. So a lot of people from Ghana was not fucking with that shit. They felt like, yo, you disrespecting our shit by making it a music video. And a lot of people were saying, like, yo, why did y'all let him record there anyway? Apparently, it was just like one dude that had like a small camera. So they thought he was just taking pictures the whole time. So they ain't had no problem with it. But now he put out a whole music video with the footage. They was not fucking with that shit. So Meek went on Twitter again. He apologized immediately. He said he didn't know. He didn't understand the culture. He thought it was just like a good, tourist place to be go there and take pictures and stuff. So he didn't understand how serious that shit was. But you put it in that perspective, like it's just like you can't just go in the White House and shoot a music video with your footage in there. That shit is not gonna happen.
It's hard to picture the situation though, because like if you did that here, there's so much security. Like you're not able to get in there and do that. Right. It's hard to imagine somebody just like randomly being in this building, taking videos and like performing for a camera, and nobody else is like, yeah, you can't do that here. I don't even know how that happens.
I don't know. Maybe they just gave him a little leeway or whatever, thinking he was gonna be cool.
Right.
He put out a video as soon as he got back, so they won't fucking with it. I thought that was funny though. Like, of course, Meek will be in this position.
Yeah. Somehow he's just always got something like not a serious thing. It's just like somehow got people riled up about him.
But yeah, he apologized immediately. I think he's innocent. I don't think he mean nothing malicious by it. I mean, he wasn't in there like with guns and shit and doing wild shit. He was just standing there and certain scenes was in that building, which you could obviously see what the building was. But the video was hard. Like, that shit looked fire as hell. Like, it's a good place to shoot a video if you would.
Yeah.
That shit came out dope, so I can see them being mad at it. I get it, but it's not that serious.
Nah,
he
not at
doing
all.
Nothing malicious in there.
Not at all. Unintentional, a little cultural difference.
Yeah, that's all it was.
The cell phone thing. Have you seen? I saw this video. I think it was like a reel on Instagram or something, where it was like a montage of dude like holding his phone, kind of like he's like got the window down in his car. Yeah. He's like got his arm up here and is like has his phone in his hand. And they're like going through traffic and the amount of people that would like come up on a bike and try to snatch it real quick. And he was fucking with them like intentionally. He kept jerking it away real fast or something, or just pulling back. Have you seen that or heard of that?
I haven't heard of that. Have you seen that?
When I saw that and then now this Meek thing, it just made me think of like, I feel like that's probably a common thing in some of these poorer countries.
Sure.
When we go to Guatemala, there's certain spots where my brother-in-law would be like, we're stuck in traffic with the windows down, and I'll have my phone just kind of in between my legs.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, put your phone away. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, yeah, people will try to reach into the phone reach into the car while the window's down and just snag the phone, take off on the bike. Yeah. And it just was wild to me. Not wild that could happen, but it was just like there were certain areas where he knew he was like, we're gonna put the windows up or put your phone away.
Yeah,
wild stuff. You go to a different country, man. No telling what's going on,
man. Can't be out. He ain't have all his crazy chains on while he was down there. He knew what time it was with that.
He didn't. He didn't have them on?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, good.
Smart man.
Right.
He'd be down there with the people riding bikes and shit. They looking at you like food still.
Right. Yeah, I'm not. I got these little tiny chains, but when I went and we went into like some of the really poor village, I was like, I'm not trying to wear these. Not even just because of like safety reasons. It was like, I'm not trying to go stun on these people that don't have food.
Yeah, a lot of people try to use that like, this is motivation for y'all. Like, you ain't motivating somebody that's broke and poor and looking for their next meal, and they see you with the fucking diamonds on your neck. No, they looking like, how can I get that shit right now?
Right. I'll never forget.
That's the only motivation you're going to get out of that.
I don't even know what this was from, but I'll never forget this picture of Jeezy serving homeless people with this massive chain on and just thinking like, yo, what are you doing, bro?
It's a time and a place, bro. It's a time and a place. You're feeding the poor, doing anything with poor people in another country or any place. Probably shouldn't be flexing in that moment. You probably need to humble your attire a little bit.
Right. Agree.
So, yeah, that was that. I don't know if anything else crazy happened this week.
You mentioned Bill Cosby. I don't know what this was about.
Yeah.
Though. I hadn't heard about this.
I don't got too much information, but apparently Bill Cosby has announced that he's going back on tour. And I'm interested. I'm fucking interested. I want to know what the hell he has to joke about right now, because I'm sure he got some shit. I don't know how, like, he's never been like a explicit or flagrant type of comedian, so I don't think he's gonna go that crazy with it. But
I think he might.
You think he will?
You know how old people get old and just start saying whatever they want? Yeah, it's just like, I don't care. Yeah. And he's been demonized, rightfully so in my opinion. He's been demonized for years now.
Yeah.
He might just come out and be like, let's get wild. I'm going to say whatever I want out here.
I would like to see it. I would like to go to a fucking Bill Cosby comedy show just to see what he had to joke about.
As soon as you brought it up, the first thing I thought was like, man, who's going to go see Bill Cosby? Shit. And then I immediately was like, I'm mad curious what he would do.
Everybody's going to want to go see this.
I feel like I would just want to know.
Even if you don't fuck with Bill Cosby at all at this point, it's some type of curiosity, and it's like, what the fuck is he gonna say?
Right.
What is he gonna say?
At least short term, you could sell some massive tickets.
Yeah.
Once it gets out, people might be like, "Oh, this is what it's about. I don't care about this," and keep it moving. But the initial curiosity, I think you could sell off curiosity for sure. I would love to
see how that shit plays out. Cause how old is he? Like in his 80s or something? Now?
Gotta be.
Old as shit. Like I don't think I've ever seen a Bill Cosby stand up. To be honest with you,
I only know him from the show.
Yeah. But apparently he's been doing it for a long time, but obviously he's a comedian, but I don't think I've ever seen him do stand-up before.
He should get OJ to open for him.
But I know he's a clean comedian, though.
Right.
Of course. But, so maybe that's why I wasn't too interested. I always think back about Eddie Murphy's stand-up when he was talking about, after the first one Delirious, whatever the second one was.
I believe that was first.
The second one was he had a joke in there about how Bill Cosby called him up and said, you need to stop all that cussing. He said, fuck you, motherfucker. I thought that shit was hilarious. So it'd be interesting to see how he carries the shit to go on tour right now.
I really want to see him team up with OJ and do a one-man show. OJ's always trying to get out there and get some attention. That would be hilarious, and I would go to that. I would go to that for both.
If Robert was out for him to be the opener, they have him a show on the road. Right there.
Man, have Carl signed up in a minute. Still getting constant comments and views on that.
Yeah.
Jesus, R. Kelly will not die on the Mac.
It's craziness, man. Got a lot of fans. We got a lot of fans out there. But yeah, I think that's all I got, man.
That was it. Yeah. I don't know how much there is to talk about, but kind of interesting with, it was either last week, it might be 2 weeks ago now, that Andrew Tate and his brother got arrested in Romania.
Yeah. Sex trafficking, apparently?
Yeah.
Some shit like that?
Those are the charges. I was watching somebody doing kind of like a deep dive on it, and they were just showing old clips of him telling about, because he's openly talked about coming up initially, getting rich off of basically like running OnlyFans for girls.
Oh, okay.
Where he was taking a major cut of their OnlyFans.
Oh, that's his thing?
And kind of putting them on. That was initially how he came up.
Oh, that's wild.
These clips that they got of him telling people.
Online pimp.
Yes. Literally, that's all it was. Yeah. But these clips that they have of him talking about the business model, he's basically openly telling about sex trafficking.
Oh, wow.
Not in the sense of, like, usually you think sex trafficking, like a girl getting stolen. Right. According to what I was listening to, this guy had a decent law background. He was talking about that this is, using coercion to get somebody to commit sex acts, and then also taking a large portion of the money. He's in these clips talking about not paying taxes on any of it. Like, it's not shocking at all that he's arrested.
You a pimp, dog. You talking about being a pimp. That's what you're doing.
Clearly what he did. Clearly what he did,
That shit is illegal. You wildin'.
I don't know what Romanian government's like or how hard they're going to go on the charges, but I can't imagine that he's not found guilty on this.
Yeah.
He's such a massive personality right now. It was pretty shocking to see this.
And he flaunt his shit a lot too. He talks shit. He put it in everybody's face, all his Bugattis and all that.
My Bugatti.
When you teetering around doing some illegal shit and you flaunting your money and you in different countries talking about what you're doing, the government's gonna start looking at you like, all right, what's this guy doing with all his fucking money and
just for the tax stuff?
Yeah. You got all this money. We don't know what it is you really do. You talk about all these girls that you got doing OnlyFans. They're going to start doing some investigating on you, bro.
100%.
You're making it hot for yourself over there. So I think he can only blame himself as to why he's getting caught up right now.
100%. Everything he's told on himself.
Yeah.
Every step of the way. To me, though, I thought the more interesting part is, I don't think you're very familiar with any of the stuff he talks about, right?
I mean, I see some of it.
Gotcha.
I see some of it.
I saw, like, he has a clip from fairly recently when he talked about getting canceled for getting removed from all the platforms and stuff.
Yeah, I seen that.
And he's like, you get 3 lives. You get canceled, then you get arrested, then you get murdered. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like he's a genius marketer is what I'm getting at. Because apparently he blew up not off of posting his own stuff, but of getting other people to share his videos, which was genius.
He got banned from everything pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of genius in and of itself, that he's living off of everybody else's account, getting his message out and getting more popularity and stuff.
It's a lot of power.
But now that he puts that out, the people that like him, his stupid fans, are like,
fall right in.
He predicted this. He knew that they were going to try to trap him and get him arrested and stuff. Like, he's got it built in an excuse already.
That's a good setup.
But I don't know how you could. I mean, look, that's a possibility that he's set up and they're trying to get rid of him.
It is.
Small possibility. But I don't know how you could look at the situation and not see, like, he's doing mad illegal shit. So if you predict that I'm going to get arrested, like, duh.
Yeah.
You ain't special.
He could have just, I mean, it seemed like he could have just had it all planned. He knew they was coming for him at some point.
Yeah.
Let me throw this out there just so that, if when it does happen, they can look at that as some type of conspiracy. They trying to get him out of here.
Right.
They already been banned from all these platforms. So it's a good setup. I see what he did.
He's an intelligent dude. He's a piece of garbage for the most part, I would say. But he's an intelligent guy, and in his videos and stuff, I mean, he's funny. He's interesting to watch, charismatic and all that shit. But I won't shed a tear if this is his demise.
Probably not. He'll be all right. It is what it is.
Anything else? We got a couple more minutes here, and I, for real, don't have a sample this week. I came up in the clutch with one last week, but I haven't listened to music.
I think I got one in the tuck. I haven't been listening to a lot of music. Ain't been a lot that's dropped either. NBA Youngboy dropped another album.
Of course.
I think it might be like his 10th in the last year or some shit like that. He drops albums like every other month. But I started listening to that French Montana Coke Boys album compilation joint. It's pretty hard. Some pretty decent songs on there. Not too crazy.
The Tory feature you said?
Yeah.
Surprised he even put that out right now.
Yeah. Did you put that on there?
I guess if you don't do it now, when are you going to?
That's true. Probably had it in the tuck for a minute. I got to let this shit fly.
Strike while it's hot.
But you put that out. I mean, ain't been nothing much coming out. Like, this is that time of the year where people, are chilling out.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the year to start. The first quarter guys probably start coming out like February, March.
Yeah.
But right now, it's the downtime of the music game, music business right now. Only people that's dropping right now is underground artists mostly.
Right.
None of the big time names that we know is dropping, so
kind of works. Kind of works for me right now. There's a lot going on just in general. Yeah. I don't have a ton of time for music. I'm not mad that people aren't putting stuff out.
Same. I'm fucking trying to adjust to this new work schedule. It's just, I gotta figure things out a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's tough because I'm used to having, good portion of my day open to do shit, like to work on the pod.
Right.
I don't know if y'all noticed I couldn't put a clip out last week. Fucking by the time I got ready to put a clip out, it was the end of the week, and everything we was talking about was like 2 weeks old.
Right.
So I started to skip it last week, but this week I try to get back on it.
Little transition period, new job. Things are going well though?
You're getting a little adjusted. I mean, it's all right. It's adjustment. Like, again, it's like restaurant style we're dealing with right now. So
I forgot you said that.
I feel like I'm in the show The Bear right now. I don't know if you watched The Bear yet.
I still haven't watched it yet, but I'm glad.
That's exactly how this kitchen is right now. Real tight kitchen. A lot of people running around, maneuvering around, getting adjusted. So something to get used to. It's weird. There's a lot of, don't take this the wrong way, a lot of homosexuals at this job I'm working with.
Oh, really?
A lot of them.
I thought you were going to come with the whites, but no.
But sometimes it gets a little... You got this one guy, I don't know what his pronoun is, but this one guy, a little extra sassy, unnecessarily sassy. We can get our jokes off and shit. One day, he came back there. He was like, "Hey, are the sweet potatoes sweet?"
What kind of question is
we
that?
all three looked at each other like, And we all gave different answers. I was like, nah, it's a little sour. It's a little sour tasting potatoes over there. It was like, yeah, no, it's a little bitter. Don't worry about it. Everybody said different answers. We got a joke off, and then he laughed, and he understand we was joking with him, and walked off. And then my man next to me was like, we know who is sweet.
Too easy.
So that was one of them joints. So it was like, oh, it's one of them days. You get a stupid question, you get a stupid response. But
fair. Some
adjusting going through, but it'll be all right. We started off rough last week, getting into it. Now we're starting to like even out. Everybody's finding their positions and figuring out how we run things over there. So it's all good.
That's what's up.
Working out.
Yeah, the first couple of weeks is kind of always a pain and stuff. Having to get into the new routine, new rules, all that stuff. I'm sure it'll get good.
I mean, I do like that. The job is like less than 10 minutes away from home, so it's like a quick trip to get back to the crib, which I do enjoy with that. But it's adjusting to the schedule. Work it out though.
I feel that.
And I'm off on pod days though, so that's a good thing.
Oh, that's permanent.
Yeah,
that's permanent.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's
off
perfect.
On pod days.
That's perfect. Only other thing I had mentioned, I think a couple of weeks ago when I had read about this online, new Netflix show, Kaleidoscope.
Watched it.
I haven't watched it yet. Was it good?
Really good.
The concept sounded so fire.
Didn't buy into the concept though.
Oh, you watched it in order? Or
whatever
like, the thing was?
Watch this in any different way. I'm like, I'm not doing work to adjust the episodes to watch them. I'm just going to watch it how y'all got it set up already. And it was a good watch. It was a good show. Heist show.
I can't, Heist I'm automatically in regardless. I kind of want to watch it out of order just because. Yeah. Just because you're supposed to be. So the idea is you're supposed to be able to watch all the episodes out of order except for the finale. And it won't ruin the story or whatever. I guess they said each episode is based off of a particular color, hence the Kaleidoscope name.
Right.
I'm probably going to watch it out of order. I might just watch like evens first and odds. Go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 or something like that.
Because after watching it, I can see how you can adjust the episodes and it still makes sense. It's not like it's like in a chronological order necessarily. It's showing different points of the heist, like the beginning or the middle or the aftermath. And then, of course, the final episode is the heist. So
I'm glad you said you already watched it because I was going to check it anyway, but I'm glad to hear that it was good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not as good as, what's the show?
Money Heist.
It's not as good as Money Heist.
Yeah, that's not fair to
That's
anybody.
like top tier heist show or whatever, but it's fairly good. It's fairly good show. Fairly good show.
I'm going to catch it probably this week now that I got some time here, but
yeah, man.
Anything else you want to mention here before we wrap up? We get to your sample, but I don't know.
Did I have anything else? No, I don't think so, man. I think we covered pretty much everything. Pretty good.
Well, if you are on YouTube, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, Carl will be back. Not 100% sure, but we're going to be podding one way or the other, so we appreciate you listening. If you're on the audio, we got one of these samples coming, so stay tuned.
Yes, indeed.